Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com, here with your weekly horoscope for the last week of March and the first 5-6 days of April 2020, the year everyone will remember. And here, hopefully, to support you in those difficult, scary times for many of us, and to bring you hope and to show you the silver lining and what is the spiritual. Spiritual, astrological, and possibly material positive sides of all that is happening, trying to find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's not a rainbow at the end of the shit slide. Basically, that's been happening. Sorry about that. But yes, this is the last week that things have been building up towards one of the last weeks that will be extremely intense from the beginning of 2020, actually from the last week of 2019, with the eclipses and everything, one after another, every week, astrologically, every month, there has been such heavy karmic astrological configurations, ends of old cycles, beginnings of new cycles. And when times change, insecurity, fear comes. As you see, it's changing outside externally and also internally. We will focus a little bit on the external world predictions, but my power is and my focus is to give you sign by sign predictions of what it is you can expect in your personal life, because the only thing we can do right now in those changing times is to pray for each other, of course, to support each other and be kind, but to do the best we can about our own lives. So this week really things escalate, and this week is when two cycles end at the same time and two new cycles start. The first cycle that we're going to have on Monday, Tuesday, that's ending and starting, it's the Saturn Mars conjunction. This is around 2-year cycle. And it's going to be most intense in April. So basically from the end of March till I would say the end of April, you're going to feel this most intensely, but the beginning of April, it's most intense when they're conjoined together. Basically on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but the influence continues for a whole month because they continue to be in the same sign in Aquarius together. And in astrology, we know that Saturn and Mars are two, we call them malefics. I know modern astrologers don't like to use this word, but they hurt. Whatever they bring, usually they can eventually turns out for the best, but it's usually in some forced way. And you can see already what's happening with Saturn, the planet of restriction in Aquarius, the sign of socializing groups of people. Well, there is restriction to society. Aquarius is a society, social connection, it's friendships. There's been restriction to that. And social distancing. Saturn is a planet of distancing yourself. Aquarius is social. But not only that, Aquarius rules the markets, any complex systems without a center. That's the internet, that's the nervous system, that's the brain, that's the markets, that's the economies, that's different social systems of any sort. They're decentralized systems of any sort, just like the markets and the economy, which is what Aquarius is. And with two malefics being there in April, I think not only will our social life suffer, as you're seeing this, the stock markets of electronic companies, of any kind of companies that are connected to Aquarius, which is flying, airplanes, flying rules Aquarius, high technological companies, whatever, like companies that are connected to new technologies, to internet, distribution companies as well. Maybe Amazon is quite Aquarius, distribution systems, this is Aquarius. So they will have a lot of strain on them. I'm talking maybe a kind of stocks and bonds, but not only, just all distribution systems, delivery of foods, supply chain management, and supply chains of any sorts. They're having a lot of pressure with the two toughest planets in the sign that rules distribution chains and systems. But At the same time, Aquarius, and the economy. I think that you see in April and maybe part of May till they're both still together, and actually till July, till Saturn stays in Aquarius, you will see you're seeing it already, big repercussions on the economy that are happening, and then towards the end of the year again, but we'll speak about that when the time comes. But I just wanted to tell you, this week things again escalate, and after that we're going to be given a breather, because after that, for a few months till the eclipses come again, to June approximately, things become easier and lighter, because planet starts, the difficult conjunctions that are happening, they start falling apart. There are no new cycles starting for a little bit and old ones ending. Something's happening with my eyes there in the camera. They look like they're drawn in. But yes, for a few months we'll be given a breather. Things will start improving. Planets are going to move into more lighter energies, just like now Saturn and Mars are moving in light sign, air sign. Aquarius, Venus is moving in Gemini at the end of the week as well, which is not a light sign. And all the way from the beginning of this year till now, planets have been consistently just in water and earth signs. Just for 10 days in February, around the beginning, there was planets in fire and air for a little bit, so the energy was lighter then. But then everything went again to earth and water. I have nothing against earth and water, but it's stagnant, so it contributes more to the stagnation, being stuck, things not moving. It's like earth and water is mud. Imagine trying to wade through mud. It's like everything is kind of on standstill, especially if mud dries. What happens? But yes, but now we're getting Venus, Mars, Saturn in air signs, the sun is in fire signs, and I keep repeating, the sun is strongest in Aries for about till the 20th of April. Use that energy. The sun rules our immune system. The sun rules the marrow as well of the back, where immunity is stored. Our vitality. And when it's in its sign exalted in Aries, this is when the immune system gets strengthened. So that's good news for a lot of us, that we're scared from the coronavirus. I shouldn't say that, sorry. They can disable my channel. From the, I'll use CV. Yes, CV as the word for it, so we don't get this channel stopped. Like so many other people are having this. But yes, so the sun really strengthens the immune system. It's enough to expose your backbone for 10 to 15 minutes. Your back, even if you have a shirt on, directly on the sun, but the morning sun. This, when the rays, they come under a certain angle, the morning rays of the sun, according to esoteric studies, have the most healing influence, especially in the season of Aries. And for each season, they have different healing influences for different body parts. But in the season of Aries, it strengthens the immune system. That's why I'm hopeful that this will contain the CV. And also, it's just get a bit more sun. It's the most healing now, but the energy lightens up as things start moving more. Venus will be also in air sign. Air and fire, they move, these signs are lighter. I mean, I'm not saying it's better to have fire and air in your personal horoscope or anything. I have all fire and air, and I'm so ungrounded. I don't wish it on anyone. I don't recognize the needs of my body or when to sleep or eat. It's kind of difficult to live on Earth as a human without earth or water, which are much heavier elements, which are for the which ground you more on Earth, which makes you feel more like you belong to this planet. But when collectively there starts to be more fire and air, the spirits of people lift up, things start moving more, start becoming more dynamic. But again, we know that where things will be more difficult will be where the Saturn-Mars conjunction is happening in Aquarius that we talked about. But on a personal level, what does it mean? It means that this month you will have to put some extra efforts in that area of the horoscope that is where Aquarius falls for you. I mean, if you're Leo, that would be your relationships. We'll speak about the 12 signs one by one after that. If you're Gemini, it will be your connected to higher knowledge and such matters. Okay, but let's not go to run ahead with ourselves. But I call this conjunction the Iron Man conjunction, because Saturn indicates, Mars indicates a lot of physical energy to put into something, a lot of almost like pushing yourself to the limit, while Saturn is endurance. So Saturn will give you endurance in some hard task where you have to overcome something, fight with something, or push through something. That's why it almost gives you the energy of Iron Man. But it is frustrating if you're not used to have internal pressure in you, or external pressure. If you're not used, and if you're not tough inside. Usually when there's Saturn Mars conjunctions, this can create some crisis, so you can feel overwhelmed in that area of your life. But if you have strong internal resistance, and Saturn Mars conjunction will tend to give to people more of a backbone, more strength, but you still feel frustrated inside. You still will feel in those areas of your life like it's a challenge, like it's a push. But the ultimate positive side of Saturn Mars is that this month, starting from the end of March and the whole of April, you have a unique opportunity to do some kind of a extra superhuman, to fix some problem in your life, or to start something, because it's a new cycle. They in conjunction means to start something new, to start something new in your life, that will require a lot of willpower the first month. Well, Saturn and Mars are together. That will require you to be very together and use force and power and persistence. It actually, circumstances can force you into that, to start something there. Saturn and Mars, so-called more difficult planets, because they force us into things. If we don't want it, out of circumstances force us. We're not like, so, ooh, I feel so excited about doing that. I'm like, I have to do it, or shit will follow. And so for every person, the Saturn Mars conjunction will influence them in different, depending on the ascendant sign or sun or moon. You can check those as well. In some area where you have to be like a long distance marathon runner this month, or where you have to be like really put on your Iron Man energies and achieve something quite incredible. This is what positive, on a positive level, it can happen. And as I said, it might not be through inspiration, but it will possibly be through some need and being forced into that, but it will give you the staying power there. And then we have, let me share the screen with you very quickly. Here it is, my calendar, 2020 calendar. Here it is, we have Saturn Mars conjunction on Tuesday, but you feel it many days before, many days after. And as I said, the whole April, you feel it. And then we have Venus in Gemini, that's entering on Wednesday. Maybe let's talk quickly about that as well. That's another event. Venus in Gemini, it's basically lightens up the mood. You start seeing a lot more of those funny memes online. People will become nicer online as well. Gemini social media. But people will start, even though they can't gather together in big groups, which is Aquarius, Saturn and Mars, they're very forbidding planets. But you will be able to, let's go back to my screen. But when Venus goes in Gemini, and it will stay there till July, it's going to go retrograde. We're going to speak about that further, maybe in the next video, because this one will become too long. But collectively, there'll be lightening of the mood. People will get in more sociable mood, but possibly not, possible to do it directly, but through social media, through, and of course, Venus is what you love. And in Gemini, it's people start hearing better news, or more positive news around. Gemini, is news, the media. People start enjoying like reading more, studying more. Till now, there was more hysteria. I don't know if any of you could read anything else but what's happening in the world, and if you could focus, maybe separate individuals could focus on doing something else. But now with Venus in Gemini, Gemini is your skills, your abilities, your interests. So people will start developing certain hobbies and interests and learning Gemini skills and really enjoying learning some new skills, Venus, and especially in arts and crafts and something creative with the hands, with um, something that is connected to beauty as well. So people become more inventive in such areas, will start studying courses, seminars, webinars. Gemini rules those. And by the way, just reminding you that till the end of April, I'm doing 50% discount on most of my courses, the ones that I have created astrologically. They're foundational. You start from the bottom if you know anything about astrology, or they're more advanced ones. So check them out. I did it so we can sit at home while the civic social distancing is around, and we can learn astrology. What else can we do? And now when Venus enters into Gemini, a lot of you feel that you've collected your thoughts enough that you can now um, look out at more positive things, develop certain skills, develop technical knowledge, learn new things, read more. Plus communities, local communities, like with your neighbors, maybe. You'll notice till July that things, not on the international level, Aquarius is global level. Global companies suffer, but small companies like on a more arts and crafts or online, that is something that is kind of like more from community made, these things can start thriving a little bit. Um, and also inventiveness, doing things on your own, with your own hands. Um, and kind of like the local communications with relatives. Sagittarius sorry, Gemini is relatives, with people in your very local community, that you'll see goodwill there, better improved relationships. Okay, but now let's focus on the really big other cycle, Jupiter conjunct Pluto, which happens once every 13 or 12 years. Guess what? When was the last time it happened? Exactly 2008, when all those companies started collapsing, 2007 actually. And again in Capricorn. So that was the last time they joined together. It was a financial crisis. And if you check my video for December, and many other astrologers, I'm sure it's not just me who said that, but they said there is a possibility of financial crisis. Looking back, as we astrologers are not fortune tellers, but we can see what happened before and tell you, okay, this is what might happen now. Uh, so definitely this has been building up, and this Jupiter conjunct Pluto is not just now on the 4th of April. You feel it the whole 2020, because very slowly moving planets, they're almost the whole year next to each other. Now it peaks, it culminates. But let me share a screen with you, and let's see. It is happening here, Jupiter conjunct Pluto on Saturday. But what I've written here in my calendar, 2020, it happens every 13 years. And it's known as, though I wanted to tell you the good side, as the millionaire conjunction. Uh, Many rich people like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates have this conjunction. So yes, it can create crisis, but also in those crises, these people grow their fortunes the most. So I know you might not all have this conjunction, possibly very few of you have it. Those of you who actually have Saturn, Pluto conjunct Jupiter now can make big fortunes in some way. But even if you don't have it, Pluto conjunct Jupiter in certain area of your horoscope, which means that uh, you can find some hidden resources there, and you can create some source of wealth over the next 13 years, which you kind of get clued into or get an idea about now, this year. Maybe not necessarily on the 4th of April when it's the exact conjunction, but the whole year it will happen 2 more times this exact conjunction. So the ideas that come to you now in 2020, they carry the possibility to Jupiter is opportunity for abundance, and Pluto is hidden resources, something that you are not aware about, something that you carry from many past lifetimes, and it's even sometimes occult knowledge and wisdom and such type of things. So one of the things that, just stay tuned, especially the next week, the next few weeks, and then again in June when they conjunct, and then again at the end of the spring or summer or something when they conjunct. something will come, but Pluto is first crisis. Usually some crisis happens in that area of your life, and you see the whole world is in crisis now, and this brings from you, you find some opportunity. So just telling you that it will be some area in your life where Pluto and Jupiter conjunct, you'll find hidden resources and opportunity of great of abundance that will unfold over the next 13 years, and you'll start the year you'll get now. But generally, globally, Pluto Jupiter, what does it do? Well, this is when big money gets shifted and concentrated in the hands of the powerful. Pluto is, and they say, oh, you astrologers are conspiracy theorists and stuff. No, we just interpret the meaning of the planets, and we know that Pluto rules hidden forces or people in control that you never know about. They're hidden. It's like, it's not your president, it's not your prime minister, it's not like some rich guy that is always on TV. No, it's someone you've never heard about, and it's a very small number. Just like Pluto is the tiniest planet, it's smaller than our moon, but it has such concentrated power. Pluto is like it's like, they're like a black hole. They're tiny, but they have all the gravitas, all the power. So, and such powers, they shift the economic, they redistribute the economic, and concentrate, they fully concentrate wealth more into, and especially because it's in Capricorn, Jupiter and Pluto are getting together in Capricorn. These are the elites, people in control. They're doing it through the governments, but they're behind the governments because it's some kind of a hidden force. It is Pluto. And it's kind of like the shift of power continues to happen and redistribution of wealth. But new financial giants will appear by the end of this year. And people can suddenly become very powerful and rich. I'm reading you from my 2020 calendar. But also, this can be time for exposing secrets, because Jupiter is a planet of truth and Pluto is secrets, something hidden. So a lot of people, and conspiracies. So a lot of people, conspiracies will proliferate. Jupiter proliferates whatever it touches. Unfortunately, Pluto is also collective fear, collective trauma. Jupiter can expand it, can grow it out of proportion. And that's why such times are so big to shift, influences, to shift economies and everything, and finances, big changes. But they can be exposure of dark secrets of clergy, religion. Pluto, Jupiter rules those, of educational system, or even crisis, huge crisis that happens in those institutions, those Jupiter institutions. Pluto is crisis. Jupiter rules churches, universities, educational systems, judiciary systems, where judges are. Those in high ranking, it's like crisis happening there. But also, Pluto and Jupiter is known as extreme beliefs. I'll stop sharing this now. Maybe you want to see my face. But what has been noticed before and has been observed in horoscopes of Pluto with Pluto-Jupiter conjunction, which is manifesting already collectively for all of us, is extreme beliefs. Now, no one just thinks, people think black or white, because Jupiter is your belief system. Pluto is extremist. Pluto is like, it's all black or it's all white, or, and you see people fighting over their beliefs, especially their beliefs about Capricorn stuff, which is government structure, but also I believe this can lead to extremism in religious circles as well over the end of the year, and extreme religious beliefs. But currently it's playing out like in extreme beliefs and extreme opinions about what everyone thinks is the truth, what everyone believes is their truth. So you see intensification of that furthermore. And I hope that when Mars goes into Aries from July to the end of the year, and it's going to be retrograde, that's more violent position, it's going to square Jupiter and Pluto. I hope that extremist actions, violent actions of belief nature and of strong opinions are not taken, but it is a possibility. Again, I don't want to put fear in you, but I am. I know, I'm just discussing what these things are. But, and another thing that Pluto and Jupiter is, Power struggles between faiths and beliefs, between people in power, okay. But on the personal level, because this is what we're interested in, um, this conjunction can be a powerful boost of in certain area of your life. Pluto, I call Pluto your superhero powers that you don't know about. That that it's like it's like Pluto was discovered when sorry about that. When Pluto was discovered, this was the atomic bomb as well. So it's like your atomic bomb energy inside of you, which you're totally not aware of, that you have such amazing potential. It's all hidden, but it's just like on the atomic level, you don't see it yet. And Jupiter tends to reveal the truth and see and show you how powerful you are actually on the personal level. So it can be extremely empowering, and it can create powerful boost in certain area of your life, depending on the ascendant, where you can find access to deep and bountiful resources and insights, because Jupiter is knowledge, and these resources might be emotional. You can realize, oh my God, I never, for example, if Jupiter Pluto is joining in your fourth house of family, you can realize, wow, I never knew I had such depth of emotion. I never knew I had such power to support my family or to push my family through crisis, But the thing is, at first, some crisis usually appears. This is the nature of Pluto, and in it, you find your power. Through it, Jupiter shines light on your hidden resources. Through this crisis, in whatever area it happens in your life where Jupiter and Pluto join, you discover incredible new sources of material, physical, mental, psychological, emotional insights, knowledge, and resources. So somewhere you're going to realize how powerful you are. So this energy on a positive level can be used till the end of this year to achieve an inspired dream. Jupiter is dreams as well, an ideal, a belief, something that you want to uplift humanity or to contribute. Jupiter is very humanistic, humanitarian. So if you have some big dream or ideal, it's you can achieve it via use of concentrated willpower. Pluto is concentrated willpower. So yeah, but just be careful, because people are so intense about what they believe now, and conspiracy theories are proliferating, and fears are being expanded with Pluto conjunct Jupiter. What interesting times we live. But as I told you, it has such powerful potential, and sometimes the only way for you to move your ass or do something different is to really become extreme in certain belief. And even if it's different from someone else's beliefs, I would advise you, don't go fighting about it. Don't go fighting opinions with others. Just go do it. If you're so passionate about something, if you really believe something that now Pluto-Jupiter conjunction is really intensifying, go and use that concentrated willpower to achieve to start something that will be a source of great abundance for you over the next 13 years. Okay, now let's look at the 12 signs one by one quickly. Is there other stuff that I missed to say? Let me just see. I think we covered everything. Oh, Mercury conjunct Neptune, of course, on Friday. So that means that this whole week till the 5th, 6th of April, that there is Mercury conjunct Pluto, Neptune. And if you remember from my interview with Nicole Stojanovic, Mercury is the lungs, breathing lungs. Neptune is viruses. So this thing is still spreading, but I think that will be the culmination. And after that, it's Mercury and Neptune. It started from February. Mercury has been in Pisces since February. Pisces is the weakest sign for Mercury, for the lungs. So our lungs collectively generally have been weakened, have been, it's just been tough at times for lungs. But now when Mercury for the last time joins Neptune, this is like when things can really peak with this, but culminating from then on, I believe they can start going down. But we're not fully safe till Mercury comes out of Pisces, which is, let's see when it is, astrologically speaking, Mercury in Aries on the 11th. So after that, I believe after the 11th, and I hope and I pray to God that you know, things will start going down. And talking about, and then our lungs will not be so much threatened anymore. It's not going to be so severe when you get the flu or the CV, that it can, you know, it can create such complications. Um, and to be more so susceptible to viruses. Plus Venus, which is known as the nurse in astrology, the healing planet, one of the healing planets, enters Gemini, the sign of the lungs, already from this week, starting to help with the lungs, collectively for humanity, as we said. And speaking about prayers, actually today Venus is exactly trine Jupiter, and according to ancient, it's on the 28th, actually, Saturday, yes. So according to ancient astrological knowledge that Krasi, she delves into them, and she said the ancient book said when Venus and Jupiter in trine, God hears your prayers. The prayers get to God and he answers them. And I wanted to tell you a story about that. I know it's getting a bit long, but in the year 1347, I think, or 37, one of those. So 700 years ago, there was the Chinese plague that came actually to Europe, and it came to Italy on that year in particular. Kind of cycles repeat, funny enough. And the Chinese plague came and took 100 million lives from people in Europe. And Italy was especially badly hit, one of the worst hit places. Those kingdoms there, it was not yet Italy, it was different kingdoms. And it reached to the town of Celle di Bulgari, and in Italy, which had actually very spiritual community of Cathars there. I don't know how is the Albigois in Italian, but they were very spiritual, pure Christians. And they lived very simply. They purely, so the whole village went on the hill, and it was August the 14th. And when the plague arrived, and it was killing almost everyone. So they went on the hill that was above their village, which was a sacred mound, ancient sacred site, but also was turned into sacred site for Mother Mary, and they started praying to her for salvation and rescue. On the next day, on the 15th of August, which is the day of the Assumption of Mother Mary. It's a big Christian celebration of Mother Mary. It's the day of Mother Mary. It started to snow in August, on the 15th of August in Italy, where it's 19 degrees in the summer normally, goes to 100. And in August, in the height of summer, it snowed for 3 days. Snowed for 3 days. It covered everything in snow. And this particular strain of the Chinese plague was killed by cold. So it was destroyed. It was basically, this is how the plague was stopped in that particular area of Europe, and they was saved, the whole village. So I wanted to tell you how powerful prayer is. And yes, we can't get together, but we can do it individually at every moment that you remember. Right now, when you see this, just turn to God and say, God, bring us the weather conditions that destroy this virus, that destroys this threat to us, and join in prayer, because it does miracles, as we see from history. And yeah, so such intense and interesting times. I don't know, it's scary, but there's so much. I'm feeling so hopeful. I'll tell you another story, maybe at the end of the year, which is a big prophecy that's happening, that was made 700 years ago. And I was floored when I discovered it, and I was so hopeful, and it was exactly with what's happening now. But also 700 years ago, approximately, we made a video a year and a half ago with another astrologer, Philip, about the conjunction of Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, and South Node in Capricorn. The last time this happened, those four positions, planets were there in Capricorn, was around, again, the 13th century, 14th century. I can't remember the exact date, but we checked it when we did the video, and it was correct. And that's when the modern banking system started. And we spoke with Philip around that time, and we said, And we discussed like, wow, it's repeating again in 2020. Is that going to be the end of the banking system as we know it, or is that going to be even more bigger banking system that comes? But it's interesting. There is a repeat, and it's some kind of a 700-year cycle that's repeating in a lot of similar things, you know, with plague coming from China to Italy, and with the banking system starting then. And we see that very likely after this year, the whole economy system is not going to be the same. Anyway, enough of speculations, enough of scenarios like that. Let's focus on personal astrology. Okay. Aries, especially if you're rising Aries, Sun and Moon to a lesser degree, the Saturn Mars conjunction is happening in your 11th house. So you can have some stresses with your social life, obviously, the 11th house, with gains and finances, because it's a gainful house as well. And you might be asked to use extra willpower and extra efforts there to fix something. And to Mars means to innovate something old, Saturn, in the 11th house when it comes to friendships, your social circle, when it comes to your gains, and to put some, but to be honest, when it comes to resources, Saturn there in the 11th house and Pluto can really mobilize you. And not kind of resources, these gains can really mobilize you. But again, first, because they're two tough planets, there can be some crisis there, connection to finances, to income, but also a really strong exertion of willpower to fix that and to change it and to start something new there. That might take 2 years to give results, but really pushing there till the next Saturn-Mars cycle, but really starting it now. Then you're going to have a Jupiter conjunct Pluto, the whole 2020 basically, but it's happening in your 10th house. So maybe some crisis, Pluto, if it happens with your career, with authority figures, with bosses, with governments, institutions, can be turned into some opportunity for you, which is Jupiter. I can give you an example. I'm Aries Sun with many planets there. So crisis happened, and it might have happened already because this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction was close the whole March. Together, crisis can happen in your career, in the structure of your work or business. And out of the structure, for me, it was, you know, my channel getting demonetized and such type of things, which was a big stimulus because it was basically paying the expenses for videos and everything. But out of this, I said, okay, God, if this is your plan, there is something much bigger there. It's Pluto, Jupiter. So you must have a much bigger plan for abundance and wealth for me. And a great idea came, and I'm going to follow that idea. So, and it will take me possibly quite a few years to unfold it, but I'm so excited that it came as a deep inspiration. So you can discover something, you know, maybe a crisis that happens, but you can discover hidden resources when it comes to your career, to your ambitions, you know, in life as well. But it's very public, you know, all the planets are above the horizon, not all of them, but the important conjunctions that are happening in your 11th and 10th house areas, very public, very social, in a sense that well, Saturn and Mars put pressure on that social aspect, of course, limiting it, and the economic side of it. But you can get a lot. You can have a lot of new beginnings, then push through those things. And Venus is in your 3rd house. It's going to stay there till July. There will be a big focus on communication, on marketing, on management, on socializing, interestingly enough, but maybe more on a local level, a small circle level as well. And learning knowledge, learning new things, that you're finding new interests. Actually, till July, Venus is there. You develop love for new skills, you find new hobbies, maybe arts and crafts, maybe start learning some courses, seminars. You really find yourself quite fascinated and excited and enjoying learning something new. And by the way, if you want to learn astrology, my course is 50% off this April, so we can study together during this CV outbreak. So make it affordable to people. So what else can we do when we're at home? All right, then if you're Taurus, the Saturn-Mars conjunction, which is going to influence most of April for you, is happening in your 10th house. So you might be asked to show your Iron Man strength when it comes to career or when it comes to your goals. And because it's the end of one cycle and the start of a new one, you might be asked to put some new beginnings there over the next month. It might be accompanied by some crisis because it's or tough choices or outer pressure, because these are difficult planets, after all, Saturn and Mars, that push you in some other new direction when it comes to your career. Mars wants you to innovate something. Saturn wants you to keep building on the things that you've achieved before, old established things, but to innovate with Mars. And people that are in scientific careers can do really well. But generally, also this is the 10th houses. You can feel pressure from institutions, from organizations that like bosses, from authority figures. There can be some clash of power there, or with father figures. Sometimes people just fight with their fathers when Saturn and Mars affect their 10th house. Or just pressure when it comes to a career in some way. But again, as I said, this is also considered, as I tell you, the Iron Man combination, where you can achieve a lot through push and will and perseverance, and you can start something there that has a long-lasting influence in your life. Then Jupiter and Pluto will be conjunct in your the whole 2020, so it's not just for now, but it escalates now. In your 9th house, very intense beliefs. I mean, you more than anyone else can experience and feel how everyone is extreme beliefs, very big. Or you can develop some really extreme belief in your life as well, get really much into discovering this truth behind secrets. Jupiter is truth, Pluto is secrets, and digging behind to figure out the hidden truth. But also it can create like extreme beliefs. But as I said, extreme beliefs can be negative because it can create, bigotism, bigotry. But it can be also very positive, because when you believe something with such intensity that Pluto Jupiter can give in the 9th house of beliefs, this is when you really can use this powerhouse of atomic energy of those beliefs to transform your life, and to break through old beliefs and form new such ones, because it's a new cycle starting. So there is like destruction of old beliefs and recreation of new, deeper, more powerful, more intense beliefs, or beliefs that will help you find your resources more. Plus, it's great time when Pluto conjunct Jupiter, so you can find some source of wealth, because this is crisis comes maybe in your belief system, maybe in how you perceive the whole world. Maybe you're like, wow, if there is a God, would this be happening? Oh my God. Or wow, the world is falling. Some kind of extreme belief happens, or worldview change and shift in you through, and you start studying something new. The 9th house is higher knowledge. You start higher knowledge, any kind of education, university even, but you can develop deep, extreme even passion towards some new field of studies and knowledge. And that can become a source of great wealth for you and abundance over the next 13 years, till the duration of this Jupiter-Pluto cycle is. But now in this year are the seeds being sown. Also, it's in foreign countries. Maybe you can develop some passion or vision now for for investment somewhere abroad, or something to do with people that are far away from you in different states, different countries. They can become a source of wealth, a source of kind of but first, as I said, some crisis can happen through that. Maybe crisis in your education, crisis in your belief system, and all of those. And then new sources of empowerment and even knowledge can appear. And this is a great combination to start digging into ancient knowledge. Pluto is something that you revive. Capricorn is old, ancient. Jupiter is knowledge. To get fascinated even with ancient astrology or anything like that, or research ancient such kind of histories or wisdoms. And also, if you have some investments connected to faraway countries and stuff like that, or if you decide to do such investments, in the long term, they can become a source of abundance for you, Tauruses. And by the way, if you decide to study something, all my courses are almost 50% off till the end of April. So we can stay at home and study. What else can we do? And then you're going to have Taurus Venus, your planet, going into Gemini till July. So there'll be a huge focus on finances and resources and beautifying, and kind of, you might feel there'll be a revision of your finances and resources, but that's coming more towards May and June. But there'll be a huge focus on also beautifying your appearance and face, which is Venus, on clothes, possessions, beautiful such things. But I'm going to speak more about that next time. I haven't prepared for that, for the retrograde Venus. Okay, so then we go to Gemini. Gemini, for you, Saturn and Mars will be conjunct in your ninth house. So there is a new cycle that is starting for you that can feel a bit stressful now in April, and that's your ninth house is being affected by Saturn and Mars, and this is your beliefs. You can feel a bit frustrated or angry with God or the universe, or you can feel like it's basically it's not fair because of those tough planets together in your ninth house. But also the ninth house is father figures, that there can be some tensions there, some complications, or higher education. So you might have some stressful situation or challenge when it comes to learning, to studying, to higher education, to anything connected to faraway investments or travel. Oh, ninth house, of course, is traveling to foreign countries. So Gemini kind of gets most, if you're Gemini rising in particular, there can be some complications there. You have to jump a lot of hoops to be able to make of course, it's like obvious now. Uh, and or maybe if you want to continue study, or maybe it can indicate like having to change circumstances with studying and higher education. And ninth house is also churches. If you go to church, there can be some blockage or obstacle. If you, I mean, everywhere you want to go, this is, obvious. I mean, like I'm stating self-obvious things, but it's quite prominent in your horoscope. Like it really bugs you. It creates problem of some sort. But also we know that Saturn and Mars indicates where we can have the biggest, push, but also the biggest, we can achieve a lot through force and willpower. So for you, it might be like requiring a lot of energy or push, for example, in higher education, in learning something, in getting some legal documents or papers, or traveling in some way. So that will require a lot more efforts than normal, but it should be resolved after April, I think, when Mars comes out of there. But now it will, or maybe after July when Saturn also comes out of there. But now you have to make the big push. Then we have Jupiter and Pluto conjoined in your eighth house the whole year, but now it escalates now this week. The first time they're joining. So you can find some crisis can happen first in this eighth house. It can be psychological crisis, emotional, intimacy crisis of some sort, but you discover some truth, some secrets can be revealed. It's very secretive house of intimacy and things that you don't discuss on a party, for example, things you don't discuss even with friends much, and you can discover some buried secret, Gemini. You can discover something that initially can shock you a little bit, but it will help you find enormous emotional resources within yourself, hidden resources you did not know you possessed. Some kind of crisis can happen with money connected to others, clients or partners, or alimonies, or business partners of any sort, or others resources. And amidst that, because I said there is opportunity in the crisis because Jupiter is involved, you can find some powerful new solution or powerful new idea how to discover new resources through others. So for example, if it's clients' money that has stopped and crisis has happened, you can suddenly, amidst this crisis, eighth house crisis, you can kind of find a new source of, it can push you to develop a new source of abundance, which might take a few years to fully develop after that, but it might be a source of abundance for 13 years. And also I've seen like people with Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto in their eighth house, that they can have some deep psychological, emotional transformation that happens when they join there in the eighth house. That is, this transformation moves them to the next level spiritually, because it is a spiritual house, the eighth house. It is connected to awakening through the chakras, through traumas and releasing traumas. And this is a powerful time where this year you can transform a trauma and turn it into source of abundance or wealth for you, whether it was a divorce, whether it was the death of someone, whether it was some big financial crash, because it's also a financial house, whether it was a psychological trauma of some sort that you've been carrying for a while, that it's current. You can take that. Now, Jupiter-Pluto conjunction allows you to take it and transform it into power force through your willpower, transform it into abundance. So that's, and that abundance can be with you for many years, as I said, till the next Jupiter-Pluto cycle. Okay. And Venus is entering your sign, Gemini, which is fantastic. For now, good things are coming to Gemini, more pleasures, maybe nicer, richer food, more drinks if you enjoy that. And Venus stays in your sign till July. So by the end of this, Gemini will be definitely more attractive. I don't know how or what, but every time Venus transits my sun sign or ascendant sign or moon sign, everyone starts commenting, I look better. And somehow, because Venus is, it's the force that revives you and gives you beauty, and makes the cells also be more youthful and alive. It has this reviving energy. In medical astrology, I think it ruled, I forgot what exactly, but it's connected to bringing youth back to you. So, amidst all of this, in July, you'll be coming out, pretty more attractive somehow, and feeling sexier, and feeling Venus brings self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth. It will be a huge opportunity for you to work on your self-worth now. And people of you, Gemini, that are involved with any Venusian career, it will be a huge period for you. Any Venusian activities, which is arts, crafts, music, relationships, or Geminian, like trading or whatever, Venus will bring better things there. Or what else is Venus career? Relationships, arts, music, I think I said fashion, design, entertainment, sex work. But it's kind of this Venus there in Gemini will, or also Venus is relationships. There will be a huge focus in relationships and what is important, what are your priorities in regards to love and money. So for quite a few months. But anyway, let's go to the next sign. That is Cancer. Cancer, for you, Saturn and Mars are joining in Aquarius, which is your eighth house. So there can be some stresses coming from this eighth house in April, which is money coming to you from others. It's financial house, so definitely resources, finances of some sort. I would advise you not to be too reckless when it comes to finances. And also there can be some stressful situation when it comes to insurances or inheritances, or money that comes from clients or such kind of resources. But usually it works on more internal level. The eighth house is very internal house. But if you're in careers that are eighth house careers, this can be very demanding period for you, like emergency, ER, anything to do with anything emergency, or other people's resources, other people's money, other people's or banking, or insurance of some sort, or in the occult. It can be where your whole energies are mobilized in that area now to avert some crisis, to fix some problem, to start something new. But again, as I said, amidst that crisis, Saturn and Mars can indicate where you are forced to really mobilize your energy, but at the same time where you can achieve, as I said, is the Iron Man. You can run like a Iron Man or a marathon there, and when it's finished, you're like, I can't believe I did that. Wow. But it is tough and it can feel frustrating, but you can really do some miracles with this eighth house, which is your psychological, emotional well-being, which is surgeries, which is connected to um, um, emotional intimacy and connection, other people's resources, finances, and all those things we talked about. Then Cancers, you're going to have Jupiter conjunct Pluto in your seventh house. And that's the whole 2020. And this means that some crisis or trauma that you've had or you're having, you can turn it into a biggest source of abundance for you, or biggest source of discovering a great internal potential. It can even mean that it happens in your partner's life. Your partner is going through some big change, some big thing that is kind of like, it's like a rebirth of them, and they discover a new source of resources and power. And once I saw old horoscopes, I was looking, a friend of mine who was Cancer, when Pluto Jupiter joined 12, 13 years ago, she met someone very wealthy. So through a partner, her abundance came through a wealthy partner, very powerful, wealthy partner. Pluto Jupiter is to discover new abundance through someone else. So it can be like through business partnership for some of you, through a client, or through another partner, your marriage partner, for example. But it's not necessarily also financial abundance that can come to you through this conjunction over, and it takes maybe 13 years, or it continues for 13 years, but it can be some deep psychological, emotional resources that you discover and you have access to, and you discover in yourself through working with a counselor one-to-one, or through working on a collaboration with someone, or by sharing something with someone. So yeah, these are, and the seventh house is trading, is business. So that can be the whole 2020, with the first hit being now in April, but it continues to the end with 2 more hits in 2020, that you discover some powerful new beginning can happen there, but empowerment that comes to you through a partner, with a personal business, a collaboration. And then Cancer's Venus is going into your 12th house, will stay there quite a while, till July. So there'll be a lot of hidden pleasures. For some of you, it actually can indicate that over the next 3-4 months, they can be the development of private affair that is hidden, that is not shown to the world. For some of you, can indicate, in the worst case scenario, that you're going to indulge a lot in hidden vices, whatever it is, But for others, it can indicate that you really indulge more, you really connect with spirituality, and you really enjoy spiritual books or spiritual topics of studies, because Venus is in Gemini. It's to learn, to read. A lot of you would find so much consolation of the soul, which is the 12th house, and escape from negativity, and a little safe haven and sanctuary by reading or studying mystical or spiritual or any kind of, or romantic novels. It's Venus. The 12th house is spiritual, but Venus is like romantic, or kind of just escaping into serious, and 12th house escaping into watching documentaries, serious, learning something, because but if you're learning something, it's usually something in your own privacy, because it is the 12th house after all, and it's kind of something that you think deep about. So that would be interesting. Or for some of you, by July, it can indicate a very luxurious experience in a hotel, if the hotels are open, a very luxurious holiday somewhere far away, in a faraway place, or romantic love with a foreign, or someone long distance away from you. But we'll focus more on that in the future videos. All right, then Leo. Leo, for you, the Saturn-Mars conjunction, Leo rising, Leo sun, moon is happening in the 7th house. So it means April can be challenging for your relationships. For example, it can be tough on your partner in some way. They might be going through some new beginning, some stressful period, or it can put stress on your relationship where you're fighting more, or it's kind of like some crisis, or where you have to do something tough together with a partner, business partner, personal marriage partner, boyfriend, girlfriend committed, where you have to do something tough together, invest a lot of energy, a lot of force and push there. But especially be careful if you're the early Leos, like 23rd, born on the 23rd, 22nd, 24th, 25th of July, or the first 0 to 3 degrees of Leo, because Saturn and Mars joined in those degrees. So that can be more stressful week for you, some challenges from others coming, or such situations. And again, the advice is keep it cool. Saturn is stronger than Mars. Don't go being trigger happy and, you know, doing extreme actions, which is Mars. Yes, you need to innovate something, to adjust, to fix something when it comes to others and relationships and business partnerships and clients and contracts and agreements. This is the 7th house. Kind of, it's businessy, but it's also personal relationship. Contracts, agreements, it can be something stressful there, or it can just require a lot more of your energy, physical and emotional, and so, you know, to go and fix or do. But again, you can achieve something extraordinary here by, again, and you can feel more challenged by others. Again, you can feel like your partners are being more cruel, or clients, or less patient, or more frustrated, and they can frustrate you. But at the same time, Saturn Mars can allow you to run a marathon when it comes to some project with others, or they can allow you to really create something like Iron Man, like I said, that you don't usually have the force and strength and perseverance and power in other times to create, to start something new with partnerships or relationship now, and to make it long lasting. And especially if something that requires more physical energy, a lot of energy that you have to put in it, and a lot of consistent step-by-step process and determination and discipline. So a lot of energy and discipline, if you have to do with someone, you can have some great results, basically, by March or June, or, you know, by May or June. But you can start it now. Okay, so then you're also going to have Leo's Jupiter conjunct Pluto in your 6th house of health. So if there was some crisis, or you've had crisis with health, you can turn it around to some source of wealth, or abundance, or knowledge, or wisdom that can keep giving for you for the next 13 years. You can have like a breakthrough of knowledge through some crisis, knowledge about the crisis about health, or you can really realize how much resources and power you have to cope with certain stress connected to your health. And also it's a great opportunity to transform health in 2020 with Pluto and Jupiter. Pluto gives amazing willpower. Jupiter expands it, and Jupiter gives you a vision, an ideal, so you can, using tremendous willpowers of yours in regards to your health, in regards to health habits, whether it's working out or whatever, you can transform and create some, achieve this ideal now. It can, oh, the 6th house is also work, you know, so there might be some crisis in your work or whatever, but you can take it and turn it around into some blessing, into some abundance, into some source of wealth, or some tough situation like debt. Debt is the 7th house, is the 6th house, that you can take around through, even if crisis happens, then turn it around as well. And create wealth and abundance through it even. Or some field that is 6th house, through medic, if you invest maybe now in something, or start something connected to medical sources, or healing, to medical careers, healing careers, or careers that are about fixing a problem, or litigation issues, or military, or such kind of careers that or businesses that go where there is strife, go where there is where social services go, or go where there is poverty or disease or any kind of stressful, out of balance situations. Well, if you're planning such kind of business, or kind of, it might be some non-government organization you're planning to do to help someone in need, but or something medical, something with healing. Well, that can become a great source of wealth for you over the next 13 years. And it can become where you have a lot of hidden resources you are not aware about. But I'm not saying it's just this April, it's till the end of 2020, but the first conjunction happens now. And Leo, you're going to have Venus in your 11th house, starting from the end of next week. Funny enough, you can receive support of a friend, especially some female friend can become very important for you, or some friendship over the next 3 months can turn into a romantic experience for you because of Venus in the 11th house of friends and its romantic planet. Plus, actually, it can be quite good in July. By July, you're going to see the results, but for gains, because the 11th house is gains. So let's see. Well, Venus goes there retrograde a few times and stuff. And it's kind of fulfilling a dream. 11th house is dreams. Venus is there. You might receive some help in regards to that, to fulfill a dream of yours. I would say it's social events as well, but we don't know when we can. But Venus will be there for you till July. So, maybe sometimes in May, June, there can be some very powerful social activity that you're part of that is very important in a positive way for you. Way for you. And by the way, if you'd like to learn astrology with me, I have my courses 50% off, a lot of them till the end of April. So we can stay during this quarantine and learn what else to do. Okay. Virgo rising, Sun and Moon. The Saturn-Mars conjunction is going to happen in your 6th house. And in April, those more challenging planets will be there. 6th house is health. So in worst case scenario, it can trigger certain health conditions. And that's the last thing you want to hear now. But usually it can just mean that you're required to really use more willpower to fix your health or to do something for your health. For example, to start working out. Saturn and Mars conjunction, like I say, start a new cycle, which I call it the Iron Man conjunction. So you can really push your kind of exercise goals further and really go for it now from the end of March, the start of April. You can also really use a lot of willpower and perseverance and energy into fixing your health, into your health habits. But also, Saturn and Mars actually like being in the 6th house because they can take care of a lot of problems there. 6th house usually indicates problems, and especially organize around yourself. It's the house of where you can use, when Saturn and Mars are there, your willpower to put order, to organize, to remove things that are no longer necessary, and also from your body, like for cleanses of any sort, because you have this staying power, as I said. And the 6th house is also work. So yes, it might be tough on you when it comes to work. There might be some crisis there, or extra demands if you're still at work, extra responsibilities on you in regards to that, where you really kind of push to your limit for a little bit. But again, it can instigate like a new cycle connected to reorganizing your work and work routines and work skills of any sort. It's also considered the house of enemies, 6th house. So if you're having some I don't know if even court cases are still happening, probably they are not. So I don't know if there's point in talking about that, but if there is some, usually enemies, and these two tough planets give you more fighting power when it comes to enemies or such, situations. And it can create you to power your enemies, so to speak. But also it's working environment, so it might be tougher, or it might be less hospitable, or it might be more stressful a little bit when it comes to work and colleagues and such relationships, if you're working, we're saying, because a lot of us now cannot do it. uh, then you're going to have Pluto Jupiter conjunction happening in your fifth house. So it might indicate that wherever Pluto and Jupiter meet, and it's the whole 2020, don't forget, it's this conjunction is not just now in August, it's actually the whole 2020. It's like fifth house is usually connected to uh, matters of the heart, love. So if there was some crisis, it can be turned into a crisis, can be turned into a in regards to love, especially, it can be turned into a great source of wisdom and power for you. It's also, I've seen when it happened last time, 12 years ago, in the fifth house of some people, I saw that they met some very powerful romantic connection. So 2020 can be extremely, especially if you're single, or even if you're not, it can be a time where you get almost like a opportunity appears for romantic relationships that's very intense, that's very sexual, but it also opens doors for you, and it opens the opportunities for you to discover within yourself your hidden reserves and potentials that you are not aware of, and it unlocks deep-seated creativity. And it's not necessary just that it will happen just by you falling in love. It can also mean rejuvenation of your love life of some sort. Maybe first crisis happens and then you decide to revive your love life and discover much bigger depths with an existing partner, a new partner in your love life. But it's also a very creative house, the fifth house. And Jupiter and Pluto meeting there, they're like atomic energy multiplied. So for some of you, it can be some amazing ideas that come to you, original creative ideas that are your own, and that, or that you take some old ideas, it's in Capricorn after all, and you really revive them, or some old creative talent that you rediscover, and you revive it again, and it can become a source of wealth for you that might keep on giving for 13 years till the next Jupiter Pluto conjunction. But now you'll be strongly aware of 2020, and especially in the next couple of weeks, maybe of new ideas coming, new inspirations, maybe even out of a crisis that bring this creative flow of ideas into you and empowerment. Plus, the fifth house is known as the house of gambling or luck. And Pluto and Jupiter there is the millionaire's conjunction. So some of you who are into stock markets, into speculative investments, that are into kind of more risky ventures, can find some powerful opportunities. If you have it given in your horoscope that you can create this 2020 year, you can create some kind of abundance and wealth through such kind of activities, or some creative new enterprise. The fifth house is to create your own business, to give birth of something that's your own idea, and to really make a dream of yours or ideal of yours with using willpower to fulfill it. But again, there is always the element of crisis possible there as well. Fifth house, of course, is children. For some of you, this can indicate 2020 as a year where possibility for, some kind of a big transformation in your life through, or the life of your children, if you have grown-up children or something, or for some of you can even mean a child that turns your life around and becomes a source of wisdom and wealth and abundance for you for many years. Plus, the fifth house is an educational house. Students, it rules students, it rules learning something that a hobby or a passion of yours. You can discover some passion or hobby of yours that you can turn into a source of wealth as well. And abundance. And as I said, I'll focus on the positive things mostly. And Virgo Venus is entering your 10th house, will stay there till July. So there'll be a huge focus in a positive way, though, because it is Venus, on your career. Especially, it can be very powerful period starting from April till July. Very important period for careers that are connected to anything Venusian: art, beauty, music, relationship, you know, and such. But all kind of careers, they benefit when Venus is in the 10th house, your social reputation, your status. But we'll speak more about that in future videos, because especially when Venus goes retrograde, that will be important. And by the way, if you want to learn astrology with me, and I have all my courses almost 50% off, almost all of them, just for the month of April. It's my birth month, and because we're stuck at home, you know, at least gives us an opportunity to learn. So yeah, this is what I see for Virgos. Let's see the next sign. Libra. Libra, for you, Saturn and Mars are joining in your 5th house. So April can be a little bit tough on your love life. You're like, what love life? But it can be some kind of a challenge that appears there, that you have to work through and use willpower to sort out. Or loved ones can feel like putting pressure on you or irritating you. Oh, children as well. There can be some tension with children, especially if your children are at home and not working and not going to school. But they'll require a lot more of your attention, a lot more of your uh, focused energy as well. And it's creative endeavors. I mean, Saturn and Mars, they can make you try and, for example, if you have your own business, 5th house is to have your own business, because you're using it's your own baby, basically, that you have to put a lot of tough work there, that you have to fix some problems, overcome some issues, and such matters. Okay, so then you're also going to have Libra, Jupiter conjunct Pluto in your 4th house. So now this is a combination which can indicate where you need to, where basically there is some crisis can happen, and maybe it has happened already, because this Pluto Jupiter has been close together for the last 2 months. So if it has happened already, you know, or might happen, this crisis can be turned into a great opportunity, because Jupiter Pluto, as I said, is turning crisis into opportunity. So that can be the start of a new phase of your family and personal life. For example, discovering, and that's the whole 2020. Jupiter Pluto will join together a few times, 2 more times in your 4th house in Capricorn till the end of this year. So it's just the beginning of those opportunities. And some of you who are trying to, might be a good idea to invest in property for some of you, even if you had some big loss through property or through family. It can be turned to your advantage, actually. It can be turned into a source of wealth and abundance that might keep giving for many years. So maybe big changes are about to happen for some of you in personal life, with family, with settling, with place of living, and opportunities. You're going to start seeing them on new ideas, and that you feel very strongly about, what place you belong in and such matters. But also it can indicate some you discovering within yourself deep emotional resources and some secrets from the family coming to the surface, some things you were not aware of in regards to your family, that are, or mother or extended family, that come to the surface, and that you become, or things you've forgotten about the past, that you unearth and that you transform and transmute somehow in you, and that becomes a great sense of power, psychological power for you. Like you're discovering psychological buried reserves within yourself. You can even be amazed at how powerful you are when it comes to taking care of your family, or because some big changes are happening when it comes to your family, and they've been happening. But now these big changes can be turned, instead of scaring you and feeling unsettled and insecure, you can turn them around for a big benefit for you: property, home, family, you know, all such matters. And sometimes, like, uh, it happened in the horoscope of my husband, Pluto Jupiter, it's happening. So we went through Pluto experience, kind of a loss of pregnancy in the family, of course. And he's discovering great resources of and abilities to take care of us and to, to be like the protector and defender of the family as well. So such kind of deep psychological rejuvenations is also happening. And what else? Venus is entering for you your ninth house, uh, Gemini, sorry, Libras. Um, it's fantastic time. You're gonna discover love for studying and learning, and it's gonna be there till July. And uh, to learn something new, some new knowledge, theory, higher knowledge, over the next few months. Wisdom to read about, high-minded, philosophical, political, spiritual, scientific matters to really expand your mind. And by the way, if you want to learn with us, I'm opening my courses at 50% off for the whole of the year, basically, for another for the whole of April month while the quarantine lasts, so we can study at home. From foundational to more advanced astrology courses, we have a huge library, but I'm just doing my courses if you want to learn with me. But another thing that Venus in Gemini for the next so April, May, June, for the next 3 months is going to give. Okay, now currently you can't fly, obviously, in faraway countries, but by June, by July, that will give, because Venus will be the opportunities to maybe travel somewhere abroad if there are some blockages with traveling abroad to international business, for these things to start doing better and better, the more Venus stays in that ninth house. Plus, it can indicate a long distance love or love of higher knowledge, or connecting with more erudite, high-minded people, more intellectual people, or females of some sort, that are a bit like good luck or a teacher to you, or that expand your horizons in some way. Okay. All right. So that's for Libras. And let's see, Scorpio. Scorpio, if you, Saturn and Mars are going to join in your fourth house. So there can be some tensions this April, especially the start until the end in your family life. You can feel stressful or a bit overwhelmed there with responsibilities and duties, or some situations that are more tense with property, with land. If you're in any of those fields, nursing, caring, taking care of children, taking care of parents, taking care of older or younger people that need, taking care of. If you're in property and real estate, that can be a tough amount for you, but one that mobilizes all your resources and all your energy to put there and to change things somehow. Plus, it can indicate some shifts in place of living, in place of family. But in the worst case scenario, it's like more stressful situations at home, and emotionally you can feel more restless, more irritable, a bit more tense overall. But you can use this energy to achieve something that requires a lot of willpower and perseverance, and and focus. How is it? What's the right word? To fix your garden, to fix something around your house, to fix problems with your family or vehicles, and such matters. Then you're going to have Scorpios, Jupiter conjunct Pluto. And that's only the first out of 3 till the end of this year. So the whole 2020, you can expect that influence in your third house, Scorpios. So what can become so if there was some crisis with relatives, neighbors, siblings, teammates, workmates, it can be turned around into it can show you how much strength and power you actually have, and it can be turned around into a situation that creates more abundance and more knowledge and wisdom in you. Plus, that's good position if you want to start some online business, for example, because third house rules, commercial business and marketing and advertising, and Pluto and Jupiter there can any business connected to marketing and such matters. So not all information So I say websites of any sorts, educational, skill training programs of any sorts. You can be very successful starting in this year. It can become a source of wisdom for you, a source of wealth for you. You can discover your voice as well, a strong voice that others hear. But again, this can indicate clashes of opinions with others, because Pluto, Jupiter in the third house of communication, power struggles can happen with people that have very strong beliefs about something, and you have very strong beliefs of something, and you can kind of fight there. But if you have an important message to bring to the world out there, Pluto, Jupiter can give you exactly that opportunity to make your voice heard, to deliver that message in an impactful way that reaches large groups of people. Also, you can discover great talents you didn't know about, or resources when it comes to business you have, to communication, some certain skill, whether it's playing an instrument, whether it's a computer skill of some sort, whether it's operating some machinery, and that can become a source of wealth for the future for you. But now you're laying the foundations. Plus, you can discover now you can be born great passion to learn some skills, some knowledge. This third house is about improving your skills. So even reviving an old skill, Pluto, to revive something old, and turning it into a source of income or growth for you. The third house is also self-started, self-made wealth. So a lot of you can discover some skill or some talent or something that you've trained for, you want to train for, that can again turn into self-made wealth later on. Also, it can be some opportunities that come to you from short trips or matters connected to, again, internet, media, business, communication, skill training of any sort. Yeah, or through relatives, with siblings of some sort as well, teammates, workmates, or some project that is small group environment, that you're working in a team with others, that you have to put, that you can evolve into something that gives you abundance and growth as well. And your mind can become very much stimulated with Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in your third house, especially towards conspiracies. You're already Scorpio, you're already inclined to that conspiracy, so revealing hidden information that was hidden from others and revealing the truth to others in some way. This can also mean transformation of there's so many things, like I have to speak so much about that, but yeah, hopefully I covered some of the most important matters. And if you really want to study something with, I'm doing 50% off most of my courses. Scorpio, Pluto conjunct Jupiter in the third house of information, skills, training, learning can be a fantastic time to discover the art of astrology and to start it from the bottom up. And my courses are 50% off now to the end of April because of the current situation. so people find it more accessible. All right. Then we have Sagittarius. Sagittarius, for you, Saturn and Mars are joining in your third house. So where can be more stressful? Okay, travels, short trips of any sort, obviously, this will be frustrating. And maybe problems with vehicles, be careful, the start of this month in April, with vehicles, with transportation, with devices, electronic devices, communication devices, phones. Be careful not to break them on purpose or when you're angry at someone. Also with communication, emails, letters, documents, just a bit more cautious when you communicate, because especially the start of the month, you can have more squabbles with people, feel more frustrated, especially by those in your close environment, or people that communicate with you over social media, or colleagues or siblings or relatives. Just there can be some tensions there that happen. If you're in any administrative tasks, maybe you have a lot more, and you have a lot more to do and work and push through. But actually, Saturn and Mars do like being in the third house because it's considered a difficult house, and difficult planets like being there. So you'll be able to get a lot done in anything connected to marketing, to media, to business, to communications, to administrative work, to uh, commerce, commercial activities of any sort. Uh, yes, you have to push through, you have to put efforts and energy, but it can give eventually very good results. And it can give you willpower that you didn't have willpower before to tackle those things. But you'll notice you're more forceful in your communications, that you possibly are more quarrelsome and feisty there. And relationships with people might be tougher, let's say, people in your everyday environment, so to speak. But again, when it comes to business, that's quite a good thing. Saturn, Mars in the third house. Um, because there you keep like a sober head on Saturn, and more disciplined, and Mars, and you push through and get things done. And the third house is skills, developing any kind of skills. This is great. Now, when Saturn and Mars in the third house, we're never better students, because Mars makes you like a soldier. So to acquire a new skill, you need repetition all the time. This is Saturn, repetition, repetition, perseverance. And Mars is you need the drive and the passion to push through. While it's not easy at the beginning, when it doesn't come naturally, whether you're learning a new language, or whether you're learning how to ride a car, or whether you're learning how to make YouTube videos, whatever new skill you're learning, Saturn, Mars can indicate that this is, you're putting a lot of hard effort in learning such new skills. And you're persevering through that. So if you want to learn also with us astrology with me, I'm putting all my courses on almost 50% off, a lot of them, just for April, just till the end of April, while we're quarantined. So they're more affordable, and so people can use that time productively. At the same time, you're going to have Sagittarius, Jupiter, and Pluto conjunct in your second house now. And Saturn is already out of your second house. And by the way, I forgot to say, Saturn Mars conjunction in the third house, I have seen it, that is very good for self-started businesses, because third house is courage, and Saturn and Mars are planets that are tough, so they tend to push a person, especially now in April, to do something in that direction. If you want to start a business or some initiative that showcases your skills. But again, as I said, there can be frustrations with colleagues, Saturn, Mars, in the third house, with communications, and hoops that you have to jump, administrative and such. But Jupiter and Pluto in your second house indicates that this whole year 2020 can be an opportunity to create more wealth in your life. Because Pluto and Jupiter are already the millionaires conjunction, as we call it, but they're where you find hidden resources of knowledge, wisdom, but also material resources that you were not aware you have before. So it usually builds up on top of a crisis. If some financial crisis happened in your life, or some financial difficulty or stress or sudden reversal, usually when, or in the world like it's currently happening, those who are having Jupiter Pluto conjunction in the second house can really tap into it and benefit from it. Whether it's by making certain investments, whether it's by starting some new financial initiative that will become a source of wealth for them in the long term. So they usually are the ones that can take the best. You're the ones currently with Jupiter conjunct Pluto in your second house who can take advantage of this crisis in the best possible way. So stay tuned for ideas. I'm not saying you're going to all become millionaires. If it's not in your horoscope to be a millionaire, you're not going to have even the drive or desire for that, But it's going to be some source of wealth that comes to you, some source of abundance or extra resources, extra comforts in you, and that can stay for you for a long time. And it's happening amidst all this crisis. And somehow you'll be able to take to see in it And because Jupiter is knowledge, Pluto is crisis, second house is money. So in this crisis, you sniff out and you're led by intuition to the right knowledge or approach to take advantage of the situation. And maybe certain investments if you want to do. It can be interesting. It can be, I think, it can increase your wealth now. Okay. And then Venus is entering your seventh house, Sagittarius, and will stay there till the end of June, maybe even in July. I'm not sure. I have to check, but yes. Long time. This will be huge spring for relationships for Sagittarius, and you're probably laughing at me now. How? When I'm locked at home and I can't meet anyone. But it will be somehow. Venus is going retrograde in your seventh house this spring and towards the summer. Many Sagittarius rising people will have some of the most important developments in their relationship. Some of them, especially after during the retrograde period, might re-examine their relationship and decide to change it, shift it to the next level, take the next step, or leave it. Others will be meeting someone very important that can become like a love partner, life partner of some sort, or some, because Venus is a positive planet after all, some benefits coming to you through some partnership, collaboration of some sort as well. But you'll gradually start feeling this now from April, but the peak will be May and June for those things. All right, so then we reach to Capricorn. Saturn and Mars are finally out of your sign, Capricorn. But Jupiter and Pluto will join there now. But Saturn and Mars, you feel a relief that both of those planets have left your sign, by the way. Like, you can breathe easier a little bit. They're gonna go and join though in your second house, so you have to be more cautious with your resources and finances in the next month, especially. Well, you'll be asked maybe to organize better your resources and finances, to take some steps, and in extreme cases, there might be some frustrations and stresses connected with resources and finances and possessions and losing or certain more expenses, so to speak, in regards to that. But on another level, Saturn and Mars make you mobilize your energy. Mars is, energy and action. Saturn is discipline. So discipline, action. And Saturn is fixing, Mars is to fix something, Saturn is problems, or to fix some problems with resources, with finances, to start looking very seriously and taking some serious steps, and cautious but still measured and cautious but definite steps forward, Mars, towards changing things with your financial situation. Even if it's some stress that's happening, it's pushing you in that direction. As well, sometimes it can be dietary, like disruptions with what you eat, Saturn, Mars. Sometimes people, when they have Saturn, Mars, can eat more poorer diet while it's there, just reminding you not to forget to take care. But it allows for dietary restriction. The one time in my life, for 2 years, I ate like separated foods. It was when Saturn was in my second house. And Mars, of course, was there at some point, but that's when Mars was there, kickstarted that diet. So I had when Saturn and Mars were there, I finally had the willpower and the strength, because Mars is willpower, Saturn is perseverance, and going the long run and self-discipline, to really change my eating. So I started eating separated, never mixing fruits with other fruit groups and stuff. And honestly, it was amazing. I lost so much weight, and I did it while Saturn was in my second house. I stopped after that. But it can give you this push to change your diet and what you put in your body, with willpower now, or by force somehow. And also, according to Vedic astrology, the second house is family. There can be some tensions with family to be more cautious about, or something important that requires a lot of your, energy and perseverance to do it in regards to your family. But Jupiter and Pluto are joining in your sign, Capricorn. That's the first conjunction in Capricorn of Jupiter and Pluto, and there will be 2 more by the end of the year. So that's the code. Again, I repeat, the Millionaire's conjunction, which means that some of you might, especially they're joining together around the 24th degree, I think. So especially Capricorns that January towards the end, the 15th or 14th, something like that. Yeah, around those days, they can feel this very powerfully. But generally, for all Capricorns, it can bring an opportunity that you discover within yourself, because it's in your first house, it is you. If it's your sun in Capricorn there, it might be connected with your career, that it becomes a source of new opportunity, or through a man in your life. If it's the moon, through your family, through your personal life, or through a woman. And if it's your ascendant, it's you, basically, through your own initiatives, that you start something that creates abundance in your life, that puts the foundations for abundance that can keep giving for 13 years. You can discover great reserves of power within you, great reserves of basically everything that I said about the Pluto conjunct. Pluto conjunct Jupiter at the start of the video, this matters for you the most. And as I said, for some of you, it can indicate the birth of new ideas that you give birth to, that create a lot more abundance in you. It's also, though, also kind of finding bountiful resources that you are not aware of before, emotional, material, physical, mental, psychological. And it can be passionate desire to transform your body as well. The first house is the body, is your health, because Pluto is ambition, desire, willpower. Jupiter blows it out, makes it much bigger. So now you can really, if you decide to transform your appearance in some way, now can be the time when you do it, starting from April to the end of this year. If you want to transform your physical appearance, your health, and Saturn is helping from the second house with the food habits as well. Well, while Jupiter and Pluto can transform the whole body, but it's gonna give you opportunity, but first through some crisis, very likely for many, because it is the nature of Pluto and Jupiter, to discover hidden resources and new abundance, new ideas that bring to abundance through your own efforts, through your own ideas, and to kind of, Jupiter is an ideal of yours, and Pluto is willpower, to fulfill an ideal of yours through extraordinary willpower and push. Another thing you can notice is that you're becoming more bigoted, like your beliefs are becoming more extreme. Pluto and Jupiter are beliefs, so they go to the extreme, and you really believe in something, and you're really ready to, put all your eggs in that basket. But sometimes that's exactly what we need to push us to initiate something new, to really have unshakable or bigoted belief about something. All right, but some opportunity through Christ, and you sniff out the best right now what those opportunities are, because it's happening in your sign. This crisis that Pluto is bringing, you sniff out the opportunities in it, and you're the ones called to take basically the baton now and make out of this crisis. I'm not saying change the world, but on a personal level, to see a lot of wisdom through it, to grow a lot of it, a lot of opportunities. That's Jupiter, that it can lead to. Okay. And then we're going to Aquarius. Oh, Aquarius. Saturn conjunct Mars in your sign, especially if you're in the first 2-3 degrees of Aquarius. You're going to feel it the strongest. Be careful this week. Later Aquarius, maybe they're not going to feel it so much. Maybe they'll feel Mars a bit towards the end of April, but just be careful, take more care of your health. If you're early Aquarius, basically born 20th, 21st, 22nd of January, or 0, 1, and 2, and 3 degrees in Aquarius, this April, just take more care of your health, first of all. If it's your moon day, your emotional health, if it's your sun there, might be stresses connect. It's also health. The sun is connected to vitality, important men, father figures, career. But generally, it's going to be more pressure on Aquarius. You can feel like this month requires you to mobilize most of your resources, physically, emotionally as well, and to just carry on and cope through it like a soldier through the mud. Left, right, left, right. Saturn gives you the going power for long distance. Mars gives you the physical energy. So you'll be asked to do something. And also, Saturn Mars is to do some great work that I call it the Iron Man combination. So this is a fantastic opportunities for many Aquarians this month to start and to, especially from the first week when Saturn and Mars join together in your sign, to really push themselves, their body, into starting a new routine, exercise that is more grueling or more demanding, that usually would not have the perseverance, which is Saturn, and the willpower, Mars, to do. If you start now some workout routines, start them gradually. Don't push yourself to the limit immediately, because Saturn is there. It wants little by little incremental physical activity, Saturn and Mars, incremental physical activities. And it can be fantastic for you. Actually, that's what we're doing today with my husband. We're starting workout exercise, and this gives you the staying power like an Ironman, to go there long term and to keep it for a long term in your life. So yeah, you can initiate new things for sure, but they're tough things. They're things that require willpower and focus and perseverance. You can initiate not only physical activities, but some other like work, career, business. First house can include any area of your life, but it will require jumping quite a few hoops and keeping your, because you can feel frustrated quite at moments with Mars and Saturn. Like you can feel like there's like some a war zone in your head or around you, and you just have to keep your wits around you. And of course, Saturn is stronger than Mars in Aquarius. So the challenges that come to you, because you are Saturn, we are Saturn, and Mars there is challenging us. It's called planetary war, and it's stressing us. But those challenges can be always take them cautiously, step by step, because Saturn is stronger. Don't throw the baby out with the water, as they say. Mars has to serve Saturn in this occasion. So your current actions have to serve your long-term, well thought out plan. Plus Mars rules your career, our career, the 10th house. So you can take targeted and well thought out strategic actions, which is Saturn and Mars, toward in regards to your career. You can initiate such that require, and maybe some new beginnings that require some push through, especially this month, that require efforts, but the results can be fantastic. Again, depends who is using that energy. The energy is tough, but someone will make amazing things out of it. Someone will just be stroppy and upset and can feel powerless or victim. But no, actually, we're very tough. This month, we're the toughest sign of all of the 12. Not that the toughest things are happening to us. Type of more like we're tough. We're like, I'm no nonsense. I'm gonna get this done. I'm not afraid of that. But we're not taking big risks either. And we're like, okay, this is what it has to be done. No dilly-dallying, fooling around. This is what needs. Okay, I'm starting it. I'm doing it. So you can initiate a lot of things that you consider tough, or didn't have the energy, the perseverance. Now you can do them. So that's the good side. All right. Then we're gonna have Jupiter conjunct Pluto in the 12th house. And that's going to repeat 2 more times by the end of the year. So this influences for the whole of the year. You can find some hidden resources, spiritual resources, some spiritual transformation can be happening. Pluto transforms, Jupiter expands the transformation. In the 12th house of change, of spirituality, in the 12th house of consciousness level. So your consciousness level can have a huge jump now, but it's happening in the invisible realms. You might not be even aware of it. You might be having powerful healing experiences, so wisdom and knowledge coming to you in your dream state, in your sleep, some powerful teachers connecting to you, or if you don't remember your dreams, it can be just like intuition. They're just jumping from your mind, some powerful realizations, deep. It's fantastic for research. Anyone who is in any research now, they will discover such deep things. Jupiter is wisdom and knowledge. Pluto is research, digging deep, discovering secrets. A lot of secrets you'll find out. By the way, Saturn is out of your 12th house. For the last 2 years, especially if you're Aquarius rising, there must have been a lot of undermining forces, or someone you are not aware of that might have been doing some dodgy stuff behind you, or someone who's not doing it directly in your face. So we no longer have now for a few months Saturn in the 12th house. So this kind of invisible enemy, as they call, or our own self-sabotaging behaviors, they're not going to be a problem anymore for us. But Jupiter with Pluto can bring out the truth. Who was doing it? Why? What were those forces behind your karmic? Sometimes it might be karmic ancestral forces. Plus, as I said, powerful spiritual influx of powerful realization, spiritually shifting stuck karmic energy, because 12th house is liberation house, moksha. So release, release, release. Saturn is no longer there. And it's allowing us to release from the past now. While Saturn was in the 12th house, a lot of things were ending for us, but it's like we were still resisting it. Now Saturn is in the first house, whole sign astrology. We're no longer going to be resisting the past, and Jupiter Pluto helps us flush it out. Pluto is also rules the colon, to excrete, and Jupiter is to expand. So flushing out a lot of the things from the past that you're not going to feel so connected to anymore. Spiritual realizations, change of consciousness, secrets coming. Plus, it can become a source of wealth of some sort, some crisis, emotional crisis that can happen, or a loss. 12 houses, a loss. You can turn it into a source of wealth, or spirituality. You can turn a source of wealth, and it's for 13 years this cycle continues. And so it's this cycle. Even if some spiritual crisis happen to you, you can turn it into, you can discover great, what's that called? Resources, hidden resources within of you, but also turn it into financial abundance somehow. By the end of this year, you can get the idea about it. Also, investments in hidden places can turn into financial resource for you. Hidden or investments in faraway places. So if you're planning somewhere, source of wealth can be something in far away places. So starting something connected to faraway places, or spirituality, or imagination, all those 12 house activities. Learning as well. 12th house is great for research. If you start some research or some studies, deep studies, they can become a source of wealth for you. Plus, it's researching the mystical, the spiritual, the hidden, the conspiracy. And if you want to learn with us, I'm offering my courses for 50% off till the end of April while this quarantine is lasting. So people have, opportunity to learn at more affordable prices if you want to. And by the way, don't forget that Venus is entering your 5th house. Till July, it's going to be there. It's only starting now. The peak of it will be May and June when Venus is retrograde, but we'll be reevaluating our love life. A lot of you might fall in love during that period when Venus goes retrograde in the 5th house, or before it goes retrograde. It can be Venus that gives a lot of more joy, and pregnancy sometimes. It can indicate Venus so long in the 5th house is a fertile planet. Pregnancy is possible, falling in love is possible when Venus goes there. More fun. I mean, you're doing a lot of hard work, you ask, Aquarius. With Saturn now in your sign, you're starting to push to start to build new beginnings. This April, many of you might be building new beginnings of some sort, tough ones, but same time Venus is in your 5th house of fun. I don't know, we're going to be having some fun alone or no, but some of you might be romantically, others might be creatively. They might be discovering things that you really love doing, creative hobbies of some sort that you really enjoy over the next 3 months, that you can discover or rediscover such old ones that you have forgotten, especially in May, June, when it becomes retrograde. Some of you might want to redo some creative project or start some creative project that they really have to work hard on till, because Venus goes retrograde, but by the end of July, it will be, by the middle of July, it will be finished. But some creative project that they're very excited about and in love with as well, plus some kind of a renaissance of the love life. While we're doing this deep spiritual cleaning with Pluto and Jupiter in the 12th and those hidden secrets coming to the surface. And but also Pluto Jupiter is hidden support from an invisible someone, you know, it might be spiritual support or something that comes to you. Okay, enough of us. Pisces. Pisces with Saturn and Mars are joining in your 12th house. So overall, a lot of you might not notice it, even though it's two cruel planets. You might not notice it because it's hidden. So something might be, you might feel like your feisty energy or fight energy is more kind of behind the scenes. You're not seeing it or you're not feeling it, or your drive or ambition and energy might feel a little bit more subdued now in April. But at the same time, the 12th house is the house of being able to travel far away. So this kind of like obstacle there, obviously, or faraway countries, or settling in faraway countries. So that might be a bit tough in April. I mean, for everyone generally, but it shows more specifically in your horoscope because of these more complicated planets there. But on another level, the 12th house indicates hidden enemies. So what I would advise you is don't get involved in, if possible, in any intrigues, because this can escalate now with two cruel planets. Any intrigues behind the scenes, talking about someone else, this can escalate. But unfortunately, Saturn, try to be as noble as possible when it comes to those things. Pull yourself away from such things, you know. But also it can indicate like you might feel like some psychic attacks from somewhere, from invisible forces or whatever. It's more like the mental state can feel a little bit more disturbed with this 12th house, because 12th house is invisible entities and we have two cruel planets, so it's easier for you to attract some of the more like the darker, more, you know, the darker thoughts and feelings. So you might feel a little bit unsettled within, but not sure why. Again, don't allow yourself to succumb to that. I mean, it's easy to say than do. But if it happens, remember this, and it's temporary, it's gonna go. But Saturn with Mars in the 12th house, one of the things that can happen is some hidden enemy or someone that to appear that is doing travel for you behind the scenes, gossiping, saying things that aren't true, hurting you in some way like that. And to be honest, I had Saturn conjunct Mars 2 years ago in the 12th house, 2.5 years actually, or something like that. And it happened. But don't worry, it's not so scary. It's, you just get frustrated, like, can't you just face me and tell me? Why do you have to do fake accounts and hide and do such things, you know? But just keep it in mind as a possibility. I don't want to scare the shit out of you, but it's, again, this too shall pass, you know. It's also another thing is that you can use this energy to do some research. It's fantastic for that. Behind the scenes, or to be preparing something behind the scenes. Mars gives you the drive, Saturn gives you the staying power to do that, and to, you know, to really, and also to do some hard work to help others. Now that's the highest manifestation of the 12th house. And it is also paying karma house. So, you know, it might feel like the times are a bit more karmic, as if things have been put in action from before, and now they're just going like by, you know, you can't change their direction now when Saturn and Mars in the 12th house with your willpower, with your, so it's kind of like a rolling ball that you have to go with and see where it takes you. But the highest manifestation of Saturn, Mars, and the 12th house is to put your efforts to do for others more, to help others in need. It might be by spreading information because it's Aquarius. It might be by knowledge, Aquarius, wisdom. By it might be financial. It might be just going and helping someone, who needs groceries or in your community somehow. Because it's happening in Aquarius. Aquarius rules communities and our society and basically communal life. And Saturn and Mars, there you can do the dirty job or the hard work in the 12th house of helping without expecting back for those who have some need. And then actually you can reverse or even stop some of the more difficult manifestation of Saturn and Mars in the 12th house, like feeling demotivated or having such kind of, invisible, whatever we talked about. But it's kind of like a spiritually purging process that is starting to activate things from the past that you have to let go, and you have 2 more years after that, but we'll speak about that in the future. Okay, so then we have your planet Jupiter conjunct Pluto, Pisces, and you can feel empowered at the same time, but again, secrets are coming to the surface, because Pluto is secrets, Jupiter is you. It illuminates secrets connected to you or connected to your friends or social environment, because it's in the 11th house, can come to the surface. But I think that Pluto conjunct Jupiter can empower you a lot, especially can empower you because Pluto revives. Pluto creates a crisis first, so maybe some crisis, but then it's being revived. But then out of this crisis, you rise like Phoenix. This is a symbolism of Pluto, and a new rebirth is happening. And that's very powerful for you, Pisces, because Jupiter rules you, is a traditional ruler. And it is happening in a sign of Capricorn. So it's like might be connected to career generally. Capricorn rules career structures, like rebirth of that. Or it's happening in your 11th house, where you can be giving birth of and feeling empowered in your voice with the community, how the community can hear your voice, an important message, and you can spread and wisdom of some sort in the community. That's another way it can manifest. Or 11th house is gains. So that's a powerful combination. Pluto Jupiter is already known as the millionaire conjunction. So it can generate resources of wealth. In the 11th house of gains, you can do it by influencing large groups of people, by taking a product out of some sort by the end of 2020. 11th house is a business house. Pluto and Jupiter is money combination. You're Jupiter as well. So I think that can be financially very, for Pisces, a year where they can make some of their dreams come true, especially talking with their social goals, where they want to be on the social ladder, because the 11th house is connected to the approval of society, and in connection to economic and financial goals, because the 11th house rules those. So you can have some rebirth there, transformation, a source of income that brings wealth for quite a long time, maybe the next 12, 13 years. So look around in the midst of this crisis, social crisis, there is your wealth there. Jupiter is there, and you personally involved, and you create that wealth. And it's a possibly very much a business idea or collaboration or something that will impact others on a larger scale as well, because of the 11th house connotation. Can be also the birth of a new friendship or something, meeting an important or influential person of some sort as well, the 11th house, that can have transforming influence on you and your abundance, and transformation as well, and helping you find your deep resources. Or becoming a member of some community, might be online, I'm not advising you to go out, but becoming a member of some community now that expands your knowledge, transforms you, and that creates resources and opportunities for wealth for you now and for growth. So on that note, Pisces, thank you so much, all of the 12 signs. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being so patient. And stay home, stay safe. This is the last toughest week. I think after that, gradually things will start getting better. To 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 the other curveball that 2020 throws us, but more about that in the future. So I love you, and do check the courses. They're 50% off, many of them, if you want to learn astrology with me. Bye bye.